Hello everybody, welcome along. My name is Benjamin Bloom. This is the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel. Please leave your bias at the door. This is the Championship Review Show, Round 10, Part 1. Yes, as you know, we have been rammed with fixtures, and if you've been following, you will know that I'm having to split these in half. So we are going to be looking at last night's games. So the first 6 games of Round 10 played on the Tuesday night, and we'll do the next 6 that are played tonight. Tomorrow night, as you can imagine, we'll look through all 6 games and the action and what it means for the winners, the losers, the runners, the riders, etc. Before we go any further, we need to say thank you to our fan sponsor for all of the Championship Review shows this season is Russ Peake, a fan and now a friend despite Ben's terrible taste in football teams. And Russ has supported the channel. You too can do so by heading over to the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel merchandise store over at teesprings.com. Buy t-shirts, mugs, phone cases, hoodies, training tops, t-shirts. You can buy a Don't Call Me Jesus t-shirt, and I've just witnessed t-shirt and a Leave Your Biased at the door t-shirt, as well as the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel home and away shirts. Right, all that being said, let's get to the action. Here are your 6 results from last night in the Championship. It was Sheffield Wednesday 1, Bournemouth 0, Huddersfield 1, Bristol City 2, Norwich 0, Millwall 0, Brentford 1, Swansea 1, Cardiff 3, Barnsley 0, Blackburn 0, Borough 0. So you'll notice straight away, not too productive for some of the top teams, and not many wins and not many goals going about for those upper teams. We will look first of all at Brentford 1, Swansea 1 in a repeat of last year's playoff semi-final. 2 clubs that have been fairly evenly matched just recently, and I think might be in and around the similar positions this season. If we're using the first 10 games as a barometer. Certainly they went head to head last night and they drew 1 apiece. Selection wise, Ryan Bennett in the back 3 there for Swansea, replacing Joe Rodden long term. Maybe Ben Cabango out. Robertson, Bidwell, the wing backs, Fulton and Smith, Grimes and Palmer on the bench. You can see they're going to come on. Danda plays off Mayhew and Lowe, so no start for Gyökeres and Gibbs-White still suspended. Ryan Manning and Joel Latabaudiere, who both came in on deadline day, not found their way into that team yet. Swansea developing nicely though, and keeping the momentum and keeping the challenge up under Steve Cooper from last season. I thought they might tail off a little bit. No signs just yet. Brentford with the normal 4-3-3. No Pontus Jansson. Mads Anderson had been playing, but Charlie Good comes into that back 4. De Silva, Jensen and Mark Condes there. Janelt's had a couple of games, hasn't he? Remember, Christian Norgard out for a bit of time. The goal machine, Tony up top down the middle with Mbuemo down the right. It's been Canos sometimes. It's been Godos. It's Godos in this game. And you can see on the left-hand side the goals. The first one coming for Ivan Toney in the 36th minute in the first half. But before then, that is Andre Ayew. Bit weird this one. Brentford wearing white in a game against Swansea, but I'm sure someone will tell me why in the chat. Ayew hits the shot. Really good save that by Raya. And then we do get to the first goal. That is Jensen down the right-hand side, crossing low. Look on the back post. There is Ivan Toney. This must be number 10, number 9, number 10 of the season. I can't even keep up with Toney. Another player arriving there as well. Is that Mark Condes? And Toney is going to stick that one into the back of the net to continue his sensational start as a Championship player and as a Brentford player. In it goes there. A big chance there for Gyökeres. Can he find the net there? Ray is well positioned. He's favourite, isn't he? Could even square it to Ayew if he's clever. He does neither. But Grimes, who we mentioned, has come off the bench now. And with 77 gone, his cross is going to be converted by Mayhew. And if you'd have said before the game, you've probably got good odds on it as well. 1-1, Tony and Mayhew, the key sort of protagonist in terms of goals for both teams. Looks like a sensible bet now after the fact, but hindsight is 2020 as ever. Let's have a look at the numbers down the left first. 55-45 in Brentford's favour, but 5 shots to 1 on target in Swansea's favour, 9 corners to 2. However, 3 big chances to 2. So, interesting one numbers-wise. It looked like it was skewing in Swansea's favour in the main across the game. But in terms of the attacking penalty box, looks like Brentford was still productive enough to certainly have thought they could have won this. And Swansea, by the same token, will think they could have won this as well, particularly with that save from Raya and the chance for Gyökeres. 485 to 393 on the passes. 2 teams, very competitive, quite evenly matched, you almost feel, at the moment. Perhaps Brentford, who tend to grow into the season, might have higher aspirations, but Swansea are certainly doing the business at the moment. Look at them up in second position. They're only 1 defeat for the Swans. Great job by Steve Cooper there. And just 1 point off the 2 points per game club at the moment. But they'll be so happy with the start. Swansea, and you can see those last 5 games all undefeated there and 9 points across those 5, which will do you, won't it? Brentford, less consistent, aren't they? Look, only 1 win in the last 4 for the Bees. We do think they grow into the season. They are now developing a team that doesn't have Watkins and Ben Rama in. We mention it a lot, but hey, it is a big deal, isn't it? Are they missing Janssen a bit? Does that hinder their game management slightly? I don't know. They're 8th in the league. 4 wins, 3 draws, 3 defeats. 17 goals for, says they're attacking pretty well, doesn't it? But maybe the game management just slightly off a couple of times this season. Maybe a couple of those defeats could have been draws and the draws could have been wins if so. But they're on the periphery of it. And I think we often get this at the start of seasons, don't we? There will be teams that will now just keep the grind going. It's much harder to be there on 20 games than it is on 10. And you would back someone like Brentford to just keep up what they've done, certainly over the first 10 games, to be there after 20. Maybe a couple of other teams above them might drop a bit lower. But Brentford, certainly, the one stat they would be a little unhappy with is only the 4 victories in 10. But 15 points in 10, it's an all right start. Across the season, it won't. We know 1.5 points per game lands you on 69. If you've watched the channel, that won't be enough for the playoffs. I wouldn't have thought this season, especially with those 3 parachute teams lurking. They're already above them. Although, actually, no, Watford have dropped below, but they play tonight. So you take my point. Get your comments in on that one. Brentford 1, Swansea 1. Next up is Norwich versus Millwall up at Carrow Road, where I'm told by one of our subscribers that Millwall haven't won in 21 games. So not a good hunting ground, but they're going to get the point in this one. 0-0. Some sense, a bit of a attack against defence game, but we'll have a look at the numbers. For Millwall, so Bielkowski in goal, Hutchison, Wallace, Cooper across the back there, Romeo Malone as wing-backs, Thompson, Woods. They've gone for Bodvarsson, interestingly, in this one with Ferguson and Wallace. I say that about Bodvarsson, maybe in this type of game where Gary Rowett knows they're going to have to defend, they're going to have to press, they're going to have to be very good without the ball. They're always very good without the ball, Rowett's Millwall. But Bodvarsson is very, very decent in terms of just triggering the press and running and leading from the front in that way. Norwich, well, they're still without Zimmerman, so it's Hamley and Gibson at the back. And they're still playing a central midfielder at left back there in Sørensen. He's played 3 games in English football, all at left back, and came as a central midfielder. He can't get in there because Skip and Ruck play every game. And that is completely unchanged, isn't it, indeed? So Placheta, Stieperman and Buendia is the very 18-19 looking through off the front. Only Noel Hernandez not around there. And Teemu Pukki is up top on his own after a couple of games experimenting with Hugel and Pukki. Pukki back in the goals very effectively at Bristol City. Here is the closest that Norwich are going to come. Nice move this one. You can see Max Aaron's up in the box, has got forward. Well, across it comes to Placheta. And I know that goalkeeper very well. That's the ex-Ipswich goalie Białkowski. When he's beaten, he falls to his knees and doesn't even make the dive. And that one hits the post. Unlucky there, Placheta. Here is Emi Buendia. Nice quick transition there. Quick nod to Jake Cooper there, who's narrowed the angle nicely. But Buendia would think he would be scoring from there. He puts it straight at Białkowski. And then the replay comes from him and he completely, completely miskicks it. Millwall didn't have much attacking joy. But, look, they could steal this one. It's a low percentage chance. But Williams hits it very well. And look, clips the top of the crossbar there. Tim Krul in excellent form has been saving everything in the Norwich goal as well. So Millwall do have that caveat of hitting the post. But when we have a look at the numbers, you'll see quite heavily skewed in Norwich's favour. 61% on the possession. 27 shots. I saw a good tweet about this by Blades Analytic. Jay, go and give him a follow because he really looked at the shot data in this game. And 7 shots on target, 11 off. The shot data did say that Norwich struggled to create very many decent chances against the Millwall low block. And this has been a theme of Norwich's season. They were so good in 18-19 that teams are now turning up. We've seen Derby do it, Birmingham do it. I'm not sure that Wycombe and Rotherham actually did. I think they maybe had more of a go. And now perhaps Millwall did it. And in those games, it's difficult to tell. It depends how you read it. Whether it's a case of that they stuck to their principles, they kept moving the ball, they didn't lob it in the box. And in those games, it took a while to break down and maintain narrow wins. And of course, in the game against Derby, they actually lost. And in this game, they've drawn. So would it be fair to say that they've had some difficulty breaking down low blocks? Look, low blocks are hard to break down, and take it as a very big compliment that teams are coming that way. But what I will say is, going forward, it's certainly going to be something that Norwich are going to have to figure out, stacked defences against them. Look, they blew everybody away in 18-19, but maybe we know the element of surprise was there, certainly up until Christmas in 18-19, and then everyone realised that, look, they're going to win the league here, and maybe a few teams shut up shop. But so 2 big chances to Norwich, none to Millwall would suggest the pattern of the game is as I've put. Norwich up in 3rd though, and given the other results last night, in the context of their run of games, it's not actually that bad a result. Only, Watford and Stoke could catch them tonight, but they play one another, and they'll probably draw 0-0 themselves anyway, won't they? So if you're looking big picture from Norwich, they're absolutely fine. 18 points in 10 and a nice unbeaten run. And one of 2 things will happen, as I've kept saying with Norwich and coming up against these stacked defences. Either they'll improve during the season and they'll be good enough to break them down and they'll generally get results, or they won't be good enough and a stacked defence will work against Norwich. I'd be interested to actually figure out how many stacked defences they've found, and I think generally if the results are generally positive, then there's not too much to worry about from a Norwich point of view. And look, they're in 3rd place and the results are coming. So in terms of Millwall, on the edge of the playoffs, churning out 1.6 points per game, which will probably get them into the playoffs. Enough grind, enough competitiveness, and the sense with Millwall that it's not Norwich away that will define whether they get into the playoffs or not. It is, frankly, looking at those bottom 8, it's Wednesday at home, Wycombe at home, Derby at home, Forest, Coventry, Rotherham, QPR, Barnsley at home that will define whether or not Millwall get into the playoffs or not. I think they've got enough stability and stoicism to do that. They just need to make sure that they win the games against the teams that are going to end up down in that bottom 8, and they should be fine. And if they do get in the playoffs, they'll look at a game like this and say, okay, that might be the tactic in the away game in the playoffs against a Norwich or a Brentford or a Bournemouth or a Watford or a Stoke or any of those teams, Swansea, that we think may finish up there. Reading, before all their fans shoot me in the comments. So that would be my take on that one. And we learn ever more about these two teams, Norwich in particular, as we go. Norwich 0, Millwall 0. Next up is Sheffield Wednesday 1, Bournemouth 0. That is unbeaten Bournemouth losing to -4 points. Sheffield Wednesday, who'd lost 4 games on the spin going into this, the Championship, everybody. But really, really big win for Wednesday there. They're going to do it with a second half penalty from Barry Bannon, and it changes things, doesn't it? It really does. We'll look at the table in just a sec. They've got -1 points now. Wednesday wins so big for them at the moment. So Bournemouth there, Hembling-Cook, Kelly, Begovic is standard. Rico and Smith are the wing-backs with Gosling and Lerma sitting. Look at that front three. David Brooks, Josh King and Arnat Danjuma. Wow, that's a really, really good Championship front three that Bournemouth have got there. And Wednesday and Gary Monk are going to shut those front three out in this game, by God. Wildsmith, Burner, Iorfa and Palmer across the back. Harris and Odebajo wing-backs there, which means Reach can get further forward with Kachunga flanking Windass. Bannon and Pella Pessi, so still no Luongo in there. Izzy Brown on the bench, just being worked back in now. I think he could be key if Wednesday can get the best out of him. Here's the goal, and we spoke about this in the Bristol City Norwich game, didn't we? One pass, taking out a back three. Is it on? Is it good attacking play or bad defending? That's Windass, isn't it? Running in behind, chests it down. Steve Cook there, bumps him over. Referee says obvious goal scoring opportunity. Referee says penalty. Referee says red card. Barry Bannon says I'm going to score that penalty. So some things never change, do they? Bannon playing, I think it was Windass, wasn't it, through for the goal and then scoring the penalty. He is still a vital player for Sheffield Wednesday. So Bournemouth down to 10. Wednesday are going to end the game with 10. Kadeem Harris doesn't look very happy about that red card. Bit of a weird one. He steams into a challenge with Lerma, and then it's all very WWE. Sort of Lerma lands on top of him, and then there's a bit of a kick out from Harris, and he gets red carded for that, according to SofaScore. Violent conduct is what the red card is for. Professional foul, last man, it says. I love SofaScore, but I can't believe they use the term last man, which is not in the laws of football. That should say denying obvious goal scoring opportunity. One of my pet hates there, but I'll get out of pedantry mode and say congratulations to Sheffield Wednesday. Bournemouth were unbeaten. Really stacked team, and especially haven't seen that front three yet this season, have we? And what a brilliant front three that should be if they can keep it together. However, Wednesday get the win. 60% possession to Bournemouth, 5 shots on target to 2, 7 corners to 4. However, look, 3 big chances to 2. We always talk about the general shape of the game, but we always talk about the big chances, the XG and the penalty boxes. Some skeptics don't believe in it. It's very revealing. It's not your silver bullet, as I always say, but it does tell us that Wednesday were dangerous and a threat in this game. 2 big chances missed for Bournemouth will be disappointing. 10 shots inside the box, 440 passes to 293. If you are a Bournemouth fan, you will view this as losing a tight game based on a red card. And that's probably not really even a deluded view to look at it. If your glass is half full as a Bournemouth fan, that's what you will say. Big chances created. Maybe if the red card doesn't happen, maybe it's just a penalty, there's more chance of them coming back and getting an equaliser. But we know that the combination of the red card and penalty can kill a game if that penalty is scored. So lots to be positive about for Bournemouth over the first 10 games. Too many draws, maybe, if you look at the table. 4 wins, 5 draws only the one defeat is obviously very encouraging, but you can caveat that by saying only one win in the last 5. However, they have come through the first 10 games. They have mitigated the possible chaos of Eddie Howe leaving. Jason Tindall has kept things ticking along. And they've got to game 10 with 1.7 points per game in the bag. Only one defeat. They have sold players, but again, they're still able to put out Danjuma, King and Brooks as a front 3. So there's plenty of cause for optimism, but obviously losing to the bottom team. Well, are they really the bottom team? Because when you look at it, Wednesday have actually scored 11 points this season. They would be somewhere around 16th position. So they're not the worst team in the league based on 10 games. We never thought they were going to be. But they're fighting against the minus 12 points. And they've got it back to minus 1. So 10 games in, I said at the start of the season, Wednesday, if they can do it in under 12 games, as in 1 point per game, so they can do it by game 11, then things start to look okay, I think, because we've charted out a point per game as being safe. So 46 generally. We think Wednesday need 58, possibly. However, there is now the caveat that I think it will be, and obviously we need to say 58 minus the 12 would be 46. I think it might be lower than that on the basis that all of the parachute teams are up the top of the table. I think that there'll be a bit of a stretch out and there might be some whipping boys and the total might get lower down the bottom. It looks like Swansea are competitive. Brentford will be, Millwall, Stoke, plus those parachute teams. Reading are doing well as well. Bristol City, possibly. So maybe that total might be lower, which will work in Wednesday's favour. Hey, look, it works in everybody's favour if the total's lower. But remember, if the total's lower because you're whipping boys, then you're going to lose some games down there. So anyway, Wednesday minus 1. The magic 0 is now 1 game away. They can reach that in the next game, can't they? And go into positive points even with a win. The key number really is that they're 7 points off the relegation zone with 36 games to go. So if you're Sheffield Wednesday, really this season, if with 10 games to go, you're in with a decent shout, i.e. 1 game away from staying up, I think that's a sensible aim. However, if you do look at it, and it's just that 4-game losing streak. Before that, I think it was like 9 points from the first 5 or something, wasn't it? Am I right about that? Minus 8 points from the first 5. Yeah, 6, 2 wins. Yeah, it would have been 8 points from the first 5. It was all looking very, very rosy there. If they can pick up 8 points, say, from the next 5 Wednesday, then that'll be 15 games and they'll be on 7 points. And they'll just basically be in a normal standard relegation scrap with 31 games to go. And you'd think, okay, things are starting to looking good. What Wednesday can't afford to have is probably any more than 2 of those 4-game losing streaks. They just can't afford to do that. But this is a very, very big and important win. And the fact that they've done it against one of the Year 1 parachute teams in Bournemouth is very, very good news. So anyway, I'm rambling a bit with my analysis, but still some signs that are decent for Wednesday. And especially if you can beat a team like Bournemouth with a front 3 of Danjuma, King and Brooks, then really, beat anybody at home, can't you? Surely, by that logic. So a good night for Wednesday. And again, some cause for optimism. Amazing how it flips on that minus score. People were writing them off after the Wycombe game. So a really good response to that. And for Bournemouth, disappointing defeat, but much to be positive about over the first 10 games is what I would say. Sheffield Wednesday 1, Bournemouth 0. Next up, we are going to the Tony Mowbray derby. And it was Blackburn 0, Borough 0. At Ewood Park. Warnock's Borough in very, very good form. Blackburn slip-sliding a little bit over the last 5 games, losing 4 of them, despite all my enthusiasm for their seemingly excellent front 3. No Adam Armstrong in this one. You can see Gallagher and Brereton with Dolan and Elliott. God, playing 4 of them. Crikey. Holtby and Tribal, if you're a Blackburn fan, let me know if that sofa score shape is anything like the truth. I suspect it may well not be, but 4-2-2-2. Unlikely, but there we go. Didn't Brazil used to play that? The magic square in the centre of the midfield in the 80s. There you go, one for you, youngsters. Nyambi, Lenihan, Williams, Rankin, Costello, pairs in goal for Borough. They seem to have ditched the 3 at the back now. Bettinelli, Bowler, McNair, Fry, Dykesdale, Saville, House and Tavernier. So no Morsey in there. Coulson, Assombalonga, Spence. And a tight game. Not too many chances in this one. Blackburn, I mean, it's not going to class as a big chance because no one touches it. But across the box there, 2 of them slide in. And is that Gallagher on the far post and Brereton on the near post. Neither managing to convert that. And then, probably as close as it gets there, Dale Fry on the back post for Borough. And he is going to head that one over the top from virtually on the goal line. In terms of the numbers, it skews quite heavily in Borough's favour in general play, but you still have the 2 big chances apiece. But generally, 51% Borough possession, 20 shots, only 3 on target though, 12 corners, 16 shots inside the box. Blackburn with 16 interceptions and 34 clearances down the bottom might intimate that Blackburn were worthy of their clean sheet in this game. I think big picture, both managers will probably actually be okay with this one. Borough are 9 unbeaten and in the top 6, which is just fantastic, I think, given last season under Woodgate and parachute payments running out and the sort of general restructure in there. And I think Warnock's doing excellently to have them that competitive. When you look and they're surrounded by Norwich, Bournemouth and above Watford indeed. For Blackburn, well, they'll just be pleased to be competitive without Armstrong and have a clean sheet, frankly, and stop the run there of 4 defeats in the last 5 games. It's just a bit of a weird one to judge Blackburn because sometimes I look at them and I think, wow, look at the front 3 and Elliott and Armstrong and Brereton it's been, and there's still Dolan and Gallagher, and you see some of the goals, but they do have the air, and I'm ready to be proved wrong, Blackburn fans, of being a bit flat track bully and punishing Wickham and Derby and Coventry with 10 men. Wickham had 10 men as well, didn't they, in games this season to get up to those 18 goals, but then otherwise struggling in the more tricky games. So we'll see if they can get themselves up into the top half. But in the big picture, Borough will be pleased to keep grinding away, and context is king, isn't it, with a midweek draw. If you get a win at the weekend, then everyone's happy with the draw. If not, then you're 2 without a win, aren't you? So you know what I'm saying. So Borough in 5th, Blackburn in 15th there. I wonder who will be more similarly positioned come week 46. Blackburn 0, Borough 0. Next up is Huddersfield 1, Bristol City 2. And classic championship here. Huddersfield sort of trending upwards, Bristol City trending downwards. So, of course, we get an away win here for Bristol City. And they continue with the 3 at the back, but Taylor Moore is out. They looked very wobbly against Norwich, that back 3, and no surprise that a change was made there. Rowe comes in as the left centre-back. De Silva in at wing-back with Hunt the other side. O'Dowda, Adam Nagy starts in there with Chris Brunt. I believe Baconson was set to start. Am I right about that? Did he get injured in the warm-up? Some Bristol City fan will let me know. Wells and Martin continue up top. So same system, a few little tweaks. Remember, Bristol City now missing Mawson, Vyman and Sessegnon long term. We think been a little bit unlucky with some injuries there. 3 at the back as well for Huddersfield. Hamer in goal with Saar, Schindler, Stearman in front. Toffolo and Pieper, who people have been quite high on those 2 fullbacks, and certainly the Corberon system seems to be bringing the best out of those 2. Hogg and O'Brien with Koroma, who's having a little bit of a breakout season, isn't he, so far? He's going to score again in this game. Campbell and Mbenza, the wide forwards. In this system, we've seen a fair amount now in English football. This looks like it's going to be the on-trend system, doesn't it? 3 at the back with wing-backs, with 2 holders and 1 central striker and 2 sort of narrow, basically. We've seen it a lot across the top 2 divisions from the study that I have done. Here is the first Huddersfield goal. I want to play this out with a few pictures because it's a really good goal. It's look, don't talk to me about Bielsa-Ball and Corberon and whatnot. It's nothing to do with that. It's just a really good quick transition on the attack here. The ball breaks for them. Nice one into the corner. I guess that is Mbenza. Lovely cross. Karoma's, yes, he's held his run. He's onside. In it comes and he sells the keeper and puts it back where it came from. And look where he finishes it. I just wanted to play that out because we've seen a couple of Huddersfield goals where really nice, quick transition on the attacks and decisive. And Karoma now, I was a little bit critical of his final product in the watch-along I did, Huddersfield versus Forest. But yeah, he's putting the numbers up. But it's not going to be enough in this one. There is Antoine Semenyo, who has come on in a double substitution there on 68. Wells. Look, Jeju is on as well. Wells going out there. Missed that penalty as well. Did hit the bar in the first half of this game, by the way. Watch Jay Da Silva, number 3, on the back post. I think, is that Mbenza marking him? So he'll be disappointed to have lost him because it's a 3-yard tap-in for Jay Da Silva. And here comes the winning goal. It's a bit of a mess. We can't do it justice with stills. What happens is Semenyo, good effort. He made an impact, didn't he? I wonder if he might stand a chance of actually getting a starting position there. Anyway, he hits the shot. That hits the post. It bounces back into play. I think Patterson himself then tries to shift it in. It ends up with Da Silva, who sticks the cross in low. And there is Patterson on the near post to finish that one off. So, bit of a messy one. But if you're Dean Holden there and you've made 3 substitutes and turned the game around from 1-0 deficit to a 2-1 lead, and you've lost the previous 4 games, you'll be well happy with that one, won't you? So congratulations to Bristol City on a really good turnaround victory there. And by God, look, they're back up in the top 6. That's what winning your first 4 games will do for you. Even if you don't win any of the next 5, that still carries some heat. The points stay on the board, don't they? 62% possession for Huddersfield. Wow. 3 shots to 2 on target, though, for Bristol City. And 2 big chances to 1 is always revealing. They might be both the goals as well. So, penalty box defending there for Huddersfield, game management, etc. 6-15 passes to 3-5-5. So, look, both of these sides inconsistent so far this season, I suppose. And they've both been reasonably streaky, haven't they, as well? Huddersfield had a really good streak. You can see they're in 13th. They definitely hit 10 points in 4 games at one point for 10 of their 13 points. And very spotty since then. Look, win, loss, loss, win, loss. And Bristol City, are they still going to be streaky even without Lee Johnson there? They won the first 4, no wins in the next 5. Here comes a win. Do we now get another win streak from Bristol City? In deference to them, they did have a couple of hard games and some injury issues. So, look, I'm not entirely sure on either of these 2 teams. I'm sure both would actually be happy if you stop the clocks. Bristol City certainly would with a playoff position in 6th. Will they be that competitive? I don't know. I still think there's some traffic that might be pushing from underneath them. But they're there now. Huddersfield probably be happy with 13th in Corberon's first season as long as there's a sign that it's going to keep moving forward in the seasons to come after that. So get your thoughts in there. Bristol City up in 6th on 17 points. Huddersfield in 13th on 13 points. Remember, more movement could occur tonight. And welcome to the Championship, Valerian Ismail, and welcome to South Wales in a midweek game because it was Cardiff 3, Barnsley 0 after winning 2 straight games. A bit of a bump down to earth. Defending against Kiefer Moore and Neil Harris's Cardiff and Harry Wilson in Wales. A 3-0 defeat, as we can see. Barnsley, fairly steady. Did Fraser really play right wing back? Someone will let me know that. Sticking with the 3 at the back. Chaplin, Simos and Schmidt. Whatever happens at Barnsley, it just does seem to be a different front configuration literally every single game. I wonder whether he will settle on something, and will that involve Dominic Friese being at right wing back where we haven't seen him before. Mowat and James in central midfield is starting to become a bit of a partnership over the last few games. 4-4-2 we think from Neil Harris, and it's been more, or it's been Glatzel and then more and then Glatzel. Look, both of them up top in this one according to SofaScore. Let me know if you know differently if you watch the game. So traditional wingers maybe with Hoylett and Wilson, Pack and Rolls in central midfield. It looks very much like Millwall 18-19, doesn't it, from Neil Harris? That was a proper 4-4-2, wasn't that, with Gregory and Morrison up front. And here come the goals. This is a really good goal by Junior Hoylett. You can see crossed in from the left. The defending not the best, I have to say. You wouldn't make Hoylett favourite here. It's Hellick, 30, who's going to come out and commit quite badly, but Hoylett's going to control that. And before, is that Mowat, 27, can get anywhere near him, on the rise, hits it on the half volley into the corner. Great goal by Hoylett for 1-0. Wilson taken down. Is that Hellick again? I think it is, for the penalty kick there. Joe Rules, who scored 2 penalties at the weekend. Joe Rules' goal machine there, or maybe not. Sticks in the penalty for 2-0. And then Joe Rules is going to get an assist, but it's one of those assists where you just tap the ball to a really good player who's called Harry Wilson, who smashes the left footer in there. Is Walton a little unsighted? I don't know. Does it matter? Because that's flying right into the corner. And I believe now, Cardiff fans, correct me in the comments, I think Wilson's featured in 2 games now, the one against Bournemouth and this one. And I'm going to put the perception in that Cardiff might be more competitive with Wilson in the team than without, let's just say. But really, really decent win for Cardiff there. And look on the big chances. 5 big chances created. We would normally expect in this matchup between a Barnsley team and a Neil Harris Cardiff team for Barnsley to have possession and Cardiff not to care and still create the big chances. Well, I think we've got it, haven't we? Look, 51 to Barnsley on the possession, but then 9 shots on target to 3 for Cardiff. And 5 big chances, 3 big chances missed as well. So I think we would, with a 3-0 victory and those underlying numbers, we would call that a comfortable victory for Cardiff, over Barnsley. Cardiff move up to 11, first win in a while. Only 3 wins in 10 is a little bit worrying. Well, you tell me, where do Cardiff need to be for Harris to be comfortable in that job? I suspect they have to be in the top 10 within reach of the playoffs with coming into those last months of the season, or I don't think Mehmet Dalman is going to be happy, or Vincent Tan. Let me know what you think. For Barnsley, well, it's been a good start. There were a few unbeaten. Good start for Valérien Ismaël with the 2 straight victories and that draw at Millwall beforehand, where he watched from the sidelines as Adam Murray was still caretaker manager. They've put a bit of distance between themselves and the relegation zone in 17th. I still maintain I really like the Barnsley first 11. I think they've got enough good players to beat enough teams to be fairly comfortable this season. But Ismaël now has had his first experience of sort of Cardiff away, basically, and how that can end 3-0 before you know it. So I wouldn't be too disappointed with the first 10 for either team, really. Obviously, Barnsley wouldn't have wanted Struber to go, but he's gone. They've replaced him, and now they try and move on and upward towards halfway, you'd expect. Cardiff just need to be winning more games, frankly, don't they? But like I say, a lot of traffic ahead of them. A lot of teams will be expecting to be challenging for the playoffs, let's just say. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Cardiff 3, Barnsley 0. That is it for last night's 6 games. No point putting the table up, really, and analysing it in full, because there's another 6 games tonight. We have leaders Reading play at home to Preston, who are very good away from home. Watford Stoke could be immovable object meets immovable object. Forest versus Coventry, a key game down at the bottom, as Rotherham, Luton could be later in the season, but Luton nicely placed in the table at the moment. Derby QPR is our watch along. Join me for that at 7:30. Birmingham versus Wycombe. Birmingham, good couple of results since San Jose came into the team, let's just say. Again, thank you to Russ, who sponsors the show. Russ Peak, a fan and now a friend, despite being a terrible taste in football teams, is our fan sponsor for all of our championship review shows. There will be another one tomorrow. You will see Russ's face again. And one more plug there, the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel merchandise store. Buy yourself a home t-shirt, an away t-shirt, a mug, a phone case, a hoodie, a jumper, or any of the themed t-shirts that we have. A Leave Your Bias at the Door t-shirt maybe might be appropriate for most football fans, or some football fans, but my subscribers are lovely, obviously, and very self-aware, like we try to be on this channel. I'll stop before I bury myself a bigger hole. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We'll be back tomorrow in the morning again, and the reviews will come out during the day. Fantasy League later this afternoon before I get my hair cut, before lockdown, and we'll be live tonight for Derby QPR. Then, as I say, reviews tomorrow, and we will also be live tomorrow at 7 for the preview for the next round of games, round 11. And then, by God, international break. We can have a rest on the content a little bit then. So, by the way, let me know what you want to see content-wise during the international break, because whilst it stops for the players for a couple of weeks, it's not going to stop for us here on the channel. And we thank each and every one of you, 13,000 subscribers now. Thank you for watching. Over and out. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button to see more videos from this channel. Hit the subscribe button and to be notified every time we upload. Ring the bell for those notifications to come through on your device. If you really want to support the channel and me as a content creator, I will be eternally grateful if you head over to the merch store and grab something, or support over on Patreon, patreon.com/Benjamin Bloom. Thank you for your time. Go and watch another video.